Hey everyone, welcome back to bageltcg. Today we're going to be doing an updated classic constructed tier list for April of 2022. We just got some ban and restricted announcements a few days ago, I think on Monday. No changes were made, so Starvo is still in the meta as far as we know. So I'm going to do a tier list for at least until the next ban and restricted, which is on May 2nd. Before I hop into it though, make sure to like and subscribe and check the comments for lots of information like my affiliate link for Whipped Wizard, Patreon, my team Galaxxi Gaming's links, and more. So yeah, like and subscribe. Let's hop into this. So on April the 4th, I think, 5th, 4th, we got the announcement that there was no bans going on. So we have that information. They did say that he will be looked at again and that they will be making an announcement on May 2nd, which is, I think, about 10 days before the Pro Tour. And they said they might be changing something then if he's still around. So they did say they want a new meta for the Pro Tour. So what might be happening is that they're letting him run his course for the rest of April, and then they will ban him or force him into an early living legend status in on May 2nd. That's not 100%, and with the fact that everyone thought something was going to happen in this announcement and nothing was done, we can't be sure, right? Maybe they'll do nothing again, but there's a chance that they will do something on May 2nd, and we'll have a brand new metagame for the Pro Tour. I think that's on one hand frustrating because I'm not going to have a lot of time to prepare for it, but on the other hand, kind of exciting because we'll have such a new meta, and you can maybe get an edge by breaking it wide open, having that kind of perfect deck that you made in those 10 days with your team, right? So it's going to definitely benefit people who have a team that they can really grind with for those 10 days, but might hurt some people that don't have the time and only need to practice for like months leading up to it, right? So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, let's hop into the tier list. This is going to be I look at everything from very high competitive level, right? So this is going to be, if you're trying to win your games, you're trying to take down events, this is the current tier list. I think everyone knows Starvo is the best deck right now. I think he is the only hero in tier 1. The only hero, I think tier 1 kind of S tier. I put that as heroes that are going to win against most of the decks in the field, right? I'd say like the majority of decks and heroes he will beat. So tier 1, Starvo, a very strong hero. There's not a lot most heroes can do against 9 dominate plus 4 with the frostbite. And that's just if you're doing your kind of standard element turn. That's a lot of damage that's dominated, so not easy to block, followed up with a relevant on hit. And sometimes he has a really relevant on hit on the first one too, with Oakenold or Crippling Crush or Spinal Crush, anything like that, disable, right? So really powerful hero. Doesn't have a lot of weaknesses outside of the fact that he can't go super wide, which makes his only real weakness Prism right now. I think she's probably the top deck in tier 2 because she has a solid Starvo matchup. I think Starvo can totally win it. I think it's maybe just slightly Prism favored, but it's still his worst matchup, even if it is only slightly favored for Prism. But she can go into a field with a lot of Starvo there. And if it's a really good pilot and the deck is well tuned for Starvo, you just got to hope you run into like 8 Starvos in a row at a calling, and you might be able to make it to day 2 like that. And there's a chance you just hit almost all Starvos and you'll be fine then. So yeah, Prism, top of tier 2. A lot of the Spectra she got, the 0-cost Spectra really help her in the Starvo matchup. After that, we've got Viserai and Chain taking up the next spots. I think these two are pretty close. I'd maybe put Chain a little above Viserai, but this is a pretty close one. Maybe I'll put Viserai a little higher. I haven't really decided which of these is higher than the other. So these are the kind of the 2 premier rune blades. They both have an okay Starvo matchup. Viserai can try to go OTK, and if you can get to that 22 rune chant mark before you die, you can try to go off and kill the Starvo with a good Sonata. Chain is able to use his Carrion Husk to block a really big attack using his huge amount of equipment block and try to race him down. So 2 good decks. Chain, I think, is really good here because he has a good matchup into Prism and probably Viserai as well. So if you don't want to play Starvo, I'd say pick up Chain if you want to be on a Rune Blade. he's pretty well-rounded, but both of these rune blades are pretty good picks, and if you don't want to be on Starvo, all three of these are solid choices that can help you take down an event. Tier 3 is next. This is going to be the tier for heroes that I don't really recommend if you're trying to win a major event like a calling, but they can still be pretty competitive, and you'll definitely get some armory wins with them. And it's not that they're bad, they're just a little pushed out by the really powerful decks at the top, right? So I think the last Runeblade, Briar, is at the top of this list. Briar's in a great spot still, just doesn't have quite as much power as the other Runeblades, losing Ball Lightning and with her Errata. And also she used Plunder on the most, right? So all the bans that she took weakened her, but she still has the new powerful Runeblade cards, Swarming Gloomveil, Revel in Runeblood. She has Rosetta Thorn, so all the Runeblades are pretty powerful right now, and she's still in a great spot. So Briar, still a great choice, and probably the 5th strongest hero right now. After that, it gets kind of messy. I think we've got like kind of a few heroes that I'm going to just throw in here that I think are all kind of options. All of these, nope, not down there. All of these are pretty good. I think Reinar's in a great spot right now. He actually has a pretty decent matchup into any of these more controlling decks, like Prism, he's going to crush. Viscerai, he can do some good stuff into that's trying to block. So he does lose to aggro like he always does. That's kind of an inbuilt weakness to Brute that they want on purpose. But he has a great matchup into any slower deck, and which means he can even take down some Starvo sometimes if they're not fusing every turn. After that, all three of these are pretty close. I think both the Ice heroes here are pretty solid, and then Dorinthia, Axes, or maybe Sabers is pretty good as well. Probably at the bottom there. Maybe I'll do it like this. But I think these are all solid options. The disruption that the Ice heroes bring to the table is pretty powerful, and it's always going to be pretty relevant. Helps them beat a lot of these aggro decks, you know, the Chains, the Briars. They can still do some good damage into. The Ice decks will usually have a decent Runeblade matchup. And Axis is just kind of a solid deck. It can kind of 50-50 most matchups. It doesn't get smashed a lot, but it also doesn't smash. It's not a deck with... It's got a kind of high floor, but low ceiling. So, cool deck. I think it's pretty fun, but just doesn't have quite the power level right now. After that, we've got Tier 4. So, Tier 4, Dash, I think she just really didn't get enough support from Everfest. She was a really powerful deck before, but a lot of the other classes got a ton of support, and she didn't get a sufficient amount to help her compete. I think if Starvo's gone, she has a decent Runeblade matchup, and I think that will help her out. Yeah, if Starvo leaves the meta, I think Dash gets a lot better. She can use Signal Jammer and Dissolution Sphere to fight a lot of these Runeblades and be kind of a control Dash deck, but right now control Dash and Dash in general gets just smashed too hard by Starvo to be kind of worth a shot of even playing. Outside of that, I don't really know, excuse me, I don't know if I'd say there's any like garbage decks, like D decks. I think they actually gave some decent support to Azalea and Kano, who I used to have it like this, is what it would used to be, but I think they gave some nice support. Aether Wildfire, some of these new Ranger cards. So I think it's kind of close at the bottom down here. I'm not sure how exactly I would set this up. I think OG Bravo has the worst of it, just because he really got almost no support from Everfest. Maybe Pulverize is about the only card, and he uses it the worst because he doesn't use Awakening. So maybe some corner sort of setup like this would be Tier 4, but really it's like Dash is the closest to coming up to 3 here, and she's almost there. Katsu is pretty good too, but he gets a little too beat up by any of these Crown of Seeds decks. His power level's not quite there. These are all heroes that I would say need some more cards printed for them, right? I'd say they need a little more added to their card pool to make them stronger, with the exception of maybe Dash, who just needs Starvo to be gone. But the rest of these heroes just, they need that extra oomph to really make it and get to the next level, right? So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or want to talk, I love responding to comments below. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, check out the description for all the links I always put down there. Right now, there's not a lot of new content for Flesh and Blood, so I haven't been making as much. There's not I don't want to just put random stuff out there. And a lot of the deck techs, I try to make deck techs for like the really powerful decks, or decks that I think are cool. So there hasn't been anything that I've really thrown together recently, just because there hasn't been a lot of new evolution in the meta. But if I see anything, I'll try to put together. I didn't really want to speak on the ban announcement because there wasn't much to say. I could make up stuff to say, but really, no bans means there's no bans, and we're just going to be with the current meta. Like, I can't. I could hate on LSS for it, but I'm not going to be able to change the situation. So this is just where we're at, right? I think I enjoy playing Starvo. I know a lot of people hate him, and I'll switch once he's gone, right? But as a competitive player, I'll just play the best deck, right? So this is the current tier list. I wish you all the best of luck. I hope to see you all at Pro Tour New Jersey. And yeah, I'll keep us updated as they do make more changes. But yeah, see you guys next time.